Good morning, everyone. We'll begin shortly. Good morning, everyone. We are just waiting for one of our speakers to join and then we begin. Okay? Good morning to our beloved coordinator, ma'am, and my dear students. Welcome to our webinar on Mastering Board Exam. We are thrilled to have with us our former Aksharites, Diya Gupta and Aditi Rai. Diya was a city topper with a perfect 100 in 3 subjects, and Aditi Rai, who mastered board exams with more than 94%. Let's welcome them. All of you can send your reactions to welcome them. They'll be guiding us through this session to ace board exams. I want everyone to make notes. So Diya is also here with us. So Aditi and Diya, we welcome you both.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we can start our session right away. Are we ready?
Sure. Yes, I'll just start presenting.
Yeah, please.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Oh, okay. So, good morning, guys. Dia and I will be briefing you about how to write your boards and how a few tips that we thought that helped us. So I'm Aditi Rai, and I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and English at Christ University, Bangalore. I scored a 94.4 in my 12th grade boards, and I secured a 99 in psychology and English. Dia is yet to join, so I think she'll join in a bit, so she can come and introduce herself. Oh, okay.
Hi. So I'm Dia. I'm doing my BA from St. Xavier's College right now in psychology and English. And I joined Akshara in 11th, and my subjects were psychology, English, history, political science, and mass media. And I secured 99.2% in the boards with 100 in psychology, mass media, and political science.
So before we begin the subject specific tips that we had general instructions to give that we'd followed. So first of all, previous year question papers are very important, especially from the CBSE website, the NCRT website. Along with this, even the Kendriya Vidyalaya question banks are important. So if try finding out as many KV question banks as you can for each and every subject. Next is to focus on your weaker subjects more first. So try giving more time to it, because once you've gained that sort of confidence in your weaker subjects, it's easier to move on to the your strong subjects. Then paper presentation matters a lot. Underline keywords, leave space between each and every answer, and if possible, draw lines after each answer. Even if your handwriting is not the best, you can still make a difference by keeping a neat paper, leave lines and everything. So, yeah.
Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. The next is you should try and solve papers in exam conditions, like sit on a desk, time yourself, take the 3 hours off, preferably in the time that you are actually going to be writing your words. Also, time management is very important. Even while you're studying, like Aditi said, do the difficult topics before and then go on with the easier ones. Also, while writing the paper, decide how much time you're going to take for every section of the paper, for every subject, so that you set a particular target. And while you are practicing your papers, you can do it with the same idea in your mind, so that you know where you have to work on before actually writing the board paper. Prioritize topics based on mark distribution. You know what the weightage is. So spend your time studying for those chapters accordingly, and avoid learning new topics 1 to 2 days before the exam. Obviously, you've spent your entire 12th grade up till now doing all of that, so now it's just time for revision. Yeah.
We'll be moving on to the subject specific tips now. Okay. So for English, concept understanding the concept for each and every chapter is more important than memorizing, like rote learning the chapters. And even more, I mean, the storyline is important, but if you understand the deeper meaning of why they've included the text in your syllabus, it's more than enough. Also, when you're doing these concepts, make sure to remember keywords. For example, in the last lesson, linguistic chauvinism was a keyword. These really supplement your answers because the examiner would know that you have that grasp of the subject. Apart from these, secondary to what, like the first thing that you should do is learn the keywords for the concepts, and then after that, to again supplement your answers, it's important to learn specific phrases from the text. That also shows that you've read through the chapter and you know the details. Focus on value-based application questions rather than direct rote memory questions. This is what I was mentioning. Sorry. Apart from this, for writing skills, memorize the format and go through as many questions as you can from your reference books, so that there are different situations and like formats that you could practice. For the reading section, read the questions first and then skim through the paragraph once. If you can identify certain keywords that are present in the question as well as the paragraph, you'd know where your answers are. And then after doing that, read the paragraph fully. That will aid you into saving your time. Lastly, practice MCQs from sample papers and past year question papers for better preparation.
Right. So, like Aditi said, read your chapters very, very carefully. Practice a lot of MCQs, especially from the board sample papers that you get and the previous year question papers from boards. For the themes, I believe you should prepare some answers already before going into the into writing the paper. And if you have that already prepared, you can use that same basic framework for several other questions, whatever comes on themes, and then you can tweak it according to whatever the question demands from you. Um, Try using some specific terms, like Aditi said, linguistic chauvinism, linguistic hegemony, and for Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, maybe like suppression of autonomy and things like that. Also, adding direct quotes from the chapters, be it poems or the proses, it really enhances your answers. And the formats for all the writings, be very clear about them and which ones to use in what context, especially for invitations, because I remember we were very confused about which type of invitation to use where, and we had to go over that a lot of times. So do go over that if you have any doubts. But while writing the exam, don't be confused about it, because you don't want to lose marks in the format after spending so much efforts and all the rest of that. Yeah.
Next is political science. For political science, please do NCRT thoroughly. Do not go and refer from reference books unless you've completed NCRT, because that will just confuse you. Read every single word in the textbook, even the side boxes that are on the pages, and picture studies especially. The smallest of lines that you think are not important will end up asked as a question. So do everything, and then supplement picture studies with 2 3 extra points from your end in your research. So if you think that there's less information for a particular picture, please do not think that it won't come in the exam. Do your own research and get 2 3 extra points for it. Maps are also very scoring. Do not take it lightly. They are genuinely easy marks, so do not leave it till the end. At least practice a bit. Yeah.
Um, Assertion reasoning questions are very important. Practice them a lot, because I don't think there is any other way to get them right except practicing. Think critically before answering. Don't try to overanalyze it, but think through it very carefully. There are a lot of dates, as far as I remember, in political science, and a lot of things happen on the same like years. So it's easier if you make a table for that you can refer to even like a day before the exam or while you're like just going into the exam room. Also, use reference books to practice more questions. Like Aditi said, do it after NCERT. A lot of times the answers that the reference books gives are a little dicey, but practicing the questions that are in the book will help you guys.
Okay. Next up, we have psychology. Again, for psychology as well, please stick to NCRT, especially for the explanations. If you do want to refer reference books, only do it when you're revising to get a mind map, or just going skimming through the concepts quickly. Understand the concepts first and then memorize certain keywords that are given in the textbook itself to strengthen your answers, because that way the examiner knows that you know the concept. Apart from that, solve MCQs to reinforce conceptual clarity. Um, I mean, you can always practice question and answers, but I feel like through MCQs, you really get to know if you understand the concept or not, and that gives you a sort of confidence. So before you do start practicing actual question answers, I suggest practicing MCQs. Um, for case-based studies, use previous year question papers, reference books. And another thing that I'd done is that I'd feed the PDF of the chapter to ChatGPT and ask it to make case-based studies. So if you feel like case-based studies that are in reference books or past year question papers aren't enough to build your confidence, you could also do this because it gives you more questions. Um, and then another technique that you could use is that if you sit with your friend who's also a psychology student, you could take turns in explaining concepts to them to reinforce your conceptual clarity again. And yeah, this would help you learn better and memorize better.
Right. So, questions about neurodevelopmental disorders, autism, ADHD, and all of that are very common. They've been coming from the last 2 years. So, be clear about that. These are also very scoring. So, make sure that you are clear about these. Also, majority of the psychology paper is application-based questions. So, until your psych paper, apply psychology everywhere. If you're getting stressed, apply your coping strategies that you've learned. Apply general adaptation syndrome. If you're reading about Trump, apply groupthink, apply discrimination, prejudice, all of that. Do that. And yeah, like Aditi said, case studies are important. And solve the questions that you get in some sample papers, even from outside, from your pre-board papers, anywhere that you get from other schools also. And yeah, there's not really a need for reference books as such. Do whatever is in the NCERT and you'll be good. Right. So for history, practice MCQs a lot from last year papers as well as sample papers and whatever you can come up with. Last year, what we had done was from every chapter, every paragraph of every chapter, we had taken on multiple MCQs. So that way you'll kind of be prepared for any question that comes across to you. For 8 mark questions, I mean, for the entire paper, you should try and write in points, but especially for 8 mark questions, supplement that along with mind maps and flowcharts. It will like enhance your presentation, obviously, but it will make sure that you don't leave out any point that is important. So you could either make these mind maps in the end of your answer or in the beginning. Both ways, it will help you guys. Um, be clear about the order of dynasties and the kings, because there might be questions about the hierarchy or like the chronological order of which came first, or you might have to like order them in the MCQs. Um, for picture study, go through every picture in all the three books, because majority of the times they do come from the books only. So this is one thing that you can do to ensure that you don't leave or lose a mark for the picture studies, because they are usually not complicated. You just have to make sure that you've gone through everything. Also, certain Sanskrit, Pali, and Prakrit terms, remember them. Like I think there was Musarian for farmer, along with a lot of other words for farmer. So use these words in your answers. It will give a better impact.
So for economics, first and foremost, please practice numericals thoroughly and make sure that you're solving each and every question till the end, till you get the answer. Do not skim pass through questions thinking that you know how to solve them already. It's just the practice that refines your confidence. Apart from that, NCRT is essential, but refer to Sandeep Kar for conceptual clarity, because I feel like there's a lot of important points as well as extra information, and the language for Sandeep Garg is also easier. So if you get that down, you have that material that you could write in your answers that gives you a kind of um, edge to your answers. So yeah, solve all questions in Sandeep Garg, especially for deeper understanding. As in every question that is there, Sandeep Garg has a lot of questions after each and every chapter. Even if you can't solve all the subjective questions, make sure that you at least skim through them so that you're um, aware of them as well as familiar with them. IED is crucial. As humanities students, especially, I feel like we take it lightly, like knowing that we have political science and history, but please do not keep it for last minute because it's equally important as macroeconomics. Memorize important tables and dates from the last pages of IED chapters in Sandeep Garg. After every chapter, there's a table, a blue table with all the important dates. Please make sure you do that in IED at least. And IED content in Sandeep Garg especially may seem overwhelming because there's a lot of information. But if you focus on the statistics, dates, and like the key words at least, you can always elaborate on your points on your own, and you have those three aspects that give your answer that kind of finish. So yeah.
Right. So for mass media, uh, for some topics you can prepare a little out of the book as well, like I think related to internet and like relating to most of them, digital media, social media are some things that you can read up a little bit more about. um, Use examples. I know while teaching, Akshata ma'am gives a lot of examples for everything that's there in the book. So use those in your answers. It leaves a good impact. For employability skills, majority of the questions come from the book. So don't worry a lot about employability skills. Just do the questions in the book very thoroughly. And some application-based questions will be there. So, like there could be an there could be a question about creating an advertisement for some brand or something like that. So have an idea about which demographic to look for, what's the target audience, and all of that. Keep some strategies like that ready. Also, there could be questions about comparison between media in terms of their advantages, disadvantages, and which kind of product, which target audience do they reach the best to. and practice questions from sample papers and previous year question papers. Yeah.
So for applied maths, all I can say is that you have to practice. Again, as I suggested for the economics numericals, don't skim through the questions. Solve each and every question, even if you know that you know how to solve it. Prioritize chapters based on mark distribution. I think financial maths and all those sort of topics have more mark distribution to them. So prioritize those because obviously there'll be more questions in the exam for it. Then study from the NCRT PDF first, the PDF that has been given to us, and then solve ML Agarwal alongside. Like if you're doing a chapter first, solve it from the NCRT PDF and then move on to ML Agarwal simultaneously. I suggest not doing the NCRT PDF entirely first and then going to ML Agarwal because the level of ML is a little bit higher, so it gets overwhelming after a certain point to solve all those questions. The other thing is to mark important or difficult questions and then revise them 1 or 2 days before the exam. So when you're going through the NCRT PDF or ML, you're bound to find some questions that are really difficult than the others. So mark them and keep them aside because there's a very high chance that these questions are the ones that will be asked in the exam. Create formula notes and stick them in your study space for quick revision. This is something that I really suggest doing. For each and every chapter, make sure that you make notes of the formula and then keep them somewhere in your room where you keep looking at so that even in your free time, you can just revise through the formula. Then the day before the exam, the same notes that you've made for the chapter wise formula, revise through them. And the questions that you marked earlier, the difficult questions, just try solving each and every question before the exam. And also KV question banks do help for extra practice, but I suggest not doing them unless and until you've thoroughly done the NCRT PDF and ML Agarwal.
All right. So in the end, we just want to say ki take it easy. Don't stress yourself out too much. It's just another exam. I mean, it is board, so your effort should be like that, but don't take too much stress on yourself. Also, take effective breaks. Take breaks. Don't continuously study for like 6, 7 hours at one stretch. That won't help. Take breaks, but take effective breaks. Don't doom scroll and all of that. Take breaks that actually, kind of rejuvenate you. Like, do some of your hobbies, go out for a walk, talk to your friends, do all of that. Don't, like, if you haven't already, please uninstall Instagram and all of your social media apps. They're a very big distraction.
Yeah, I agree with Dia on the Instagram and other apps. Apart from that, you prepared for this for the entire year, so you're bound to do well. So just take it easy. And it isn't going to be different from any pre-board exam that you've given in Akshara by now. So genuinely just take it easy. It'll all be okay. You've prepared well for it. And yeah, all the best, guys.
Yeah, Dia and Aditi can clear your doubts if you have any during the session. Anyone?
I had a doubt regarding the psychology paper. So it's always expected for an answer to write the keywords and all. So how do you remember the keywords? And like many times it happens that you just miss out on the when you're writing on the paper. You know it before when you're reading, but when you're writing the answer, you miss it out. So anything which you have occurred with this?
Um, so I think it all boils down to how much you've revised for it. I think also what happens while you're writing the exam is that you're so stressed that sometimes you just blank out. So don't get stressed about it. I think from the beginning of the year, Roopsi ma'am and all of y'all have also put in a lot of effort to learning everything and understanding everything. So just like be confident about what all you've studied till now, and while studying maybe just focus more on the keywords. Try to, like, if you're just skimming through the parts like 1 or 2 days before the exam, focus on the keywords then, and like consciously try and just put that in your head. Yeah, that's all I have to say for that.
Um, Also, I feel like if you just do NCRT, like at least for me, I'd read NCRT so many times by the time of the exam that I kind of remembered which information was on which page, and that was the thing that I was visualizing in the exam. So that helps kind of remembering the keywords. So just honestly, just read NCRT twice, thrice, as many times as you can. And skimming is obviously when you need to revise at the end, but try reading it thoroughly each and every time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Others also can clear their doubts or at least take some guidance from them regarding any subject. Anyone? Nidhi, yes.
Hi, my name is Midhi, and I have a doubt regarding psychology only. A lot of times there's like a lot of names in psychology that we have to remember, and in like all the exams, like most of them, I usually get confused that who did what. So, do you have any tip for that to so that becomes easier?
Well, to be honest, this was a problem for me also because I kept mixing up the names, especially like in the intelligence wala chapter, the theories. So what you can try and do for that is make a list. Like clearly write down which theorist has given what theory and which chapter that comes under. So that is also a list that you can refer to a couple of days before writing the exam or even a couple of hours before writing the exam so that you have a like clarity about what theorist is related to which theory.
Also, you can try making. So we had this in 11th grade, the first letter technique. So whatever theorist you're trying to remember, maybe like take the first letter and of their first name and last name, and then first letter of the theories that they've proposed, and make like a mnemonic out of it. That's what helped me remember a lot of things. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, do I see anyone else here taking some guidance? Sampriti, would you like to ask something?
Yes, so I had a doubt about mass media. A lot of time they ask questions which are like you would not even expect them. You can't even say it is out of syllabus because mass media itself is so vast. So what can I do about those questions?
Um, I think in questions like these, because this is also something I faced last year in the paper, like when I saw the questions, a lot of them were something that you would feel are, at first glance, it would feel like they're out of the syllabus. But then when you think a little bit deeper, you try to connect them with what you've done in your classes and what's in the book and whatever theories or material is there in the book. Try and kind of relate it to that so that you have something concrete to give to the examiner. Also, sometimes these questions are very like general knowledge kind of questions that you will end up knowing. So try and kind of like answer to whatever your knowledge is about it, and also importantly try to relate it to whatever you've done in class.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Diya and Aditi. Thank you so much for guiding our students and your juniors, of course. Yes, I'm sure it will help them to ace board exams, and we'll have many more Diyas and Aditis in this batch also. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for having
Thank you.
us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Saujanya ma'am, for having this webinar conducted to help our students. So I end my meeting, children. Yes, have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, India, Didi. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aditi and Dia, I'm just trying.